Welcome back, everyone. I'd like to bring to the stage the moderator for the conversation this evening, the TV Guide West Coast Bureau Chief, Mr. Jim Halterman. Please help me welcome him to the stage. Hello. Of course. And next, I'd like to bring to the front the star of Pillow Talk, PatrickJ.Adams. You're welcome. And the writer of Pillow Talk, Rachel Taylor. The writer-director, Mr. Mike Piscatelli. And the executive producer, Casey Engelhardt.
What'd you guys think of that show? So you saw the whole second season. Remind me, you guys, when does it drop? When do the episodes get on?
October 23rd.
Yes.
Okay, so no spoilers in what we talk about today because we don't want to spoil.
Ooh, hello. There we
go.
go.
Now we got it. And thanks everybody for being here for the inaugural Tribeca TV Festival.
Also, thanks for watching something that's not intended to be watched all at once like that. It was. That's actually the first time I've seen it all as a whole, but I think it's worth noting that it's sort of a different experience of it because each little episode has its own thing.
Yeah, that was actually
hold this tiny microphone like this around.
That was actually gonna be one of my questions, and when you guys crafted this,
Powerful.
It's old school. Let's go old school.
When you guys did craft this, did you think about the fact that people might watch them all at once? Because I watched them all at once too, just to prepare for this. But what's the intention? How people should watch it? Did you think about that?
I think we just hoped somebody would watch it. I don't know if I cared how they watched it for me. It was just more.
How did it come to be so short format, though? I don't even remember that story. Did you dream it up as a short format thing, or was it?
Well, we did season 1 as kind of just a, can we get people that we love together, like yourself, to show up and like make this fun little random web series that I think when we shot the first season, we hoped that maybe we would put it on YouTube. And then through working with Pulse Films, they kind of took an interest in the character and we started developing it a little bit further. And then there was Blackpills, which is how the kind of 10 by 10 format, 10 by 8 format came to be.
But I think first we were going to do, from the first season we made one just as a short to see, it was kind of like a proof of concept of like, oh, let's just go make this short. We can do it in one room. Like the first season, every episode we made before we had a relationship with Blackpills. So each episode took place in one location, and it was mainly just because it was like, hey,
Cheap,
Patrick, can you show up?
cheap.
Yeah, we've got no money, and it's just going to be in one room. And it started from there, and it's just kind of grown into what it is now.
Talk about just striking the tone, because even the first season, if you guys haven't seen the first season, go watch it online. It's just like this. There's definitely, you're saying something, but it's also really hilarious, really dark at times. But when you were just getting started, how did you find that tone and what you wanted to do and all that?
I don't.
It's just him.
I don't know.
He just starts writing things.
Stuff, and I don't know. It's weird to like watch it with an audience. Things that like even today played maybe darker, like were to me I thought were really funny, but like nobody laughed. So I think. I don't know, we just kind of made our thing, and then I think especially the first season, Rachel and I wrote everything, just the two of us, and it was having this back and forth and this really good split between my fucked upness and your smartness.
Like any great couple.
Yeah. I feel like we're still, figuring it out. That's one of the great things about working on this project is it's been all process. Like we're new creators. This is not something that we've done before, and it's something that we obviously hope we get to do more of. And one of the really kind of amazing opportunities was we had a really, really short development process for season 2. I think we found out that they would let us make it on Christmas Day, and then we shot it like 1st of February or something. It was
You had like 6 weeks total to write everything.
To write the
There
whole
was
thing
like
and
no
like do
idea. There was a napkin with a few like notes that we wrote before Christmas, and then in that 6 weeks we had to write all of the scripts, write the scripts. We had a writer's room for like 5 days. Did all the scripts while we were trying to finish the scripts. I was also location scouting and yelling at Casey that we needed to hire more directors, that I couldn't do it all by myself. And I got really mean at Casey, and he's like, "You can do it." And then and then we just ran out of time, and so I had to do it.
But even though it was short, one of the amazing things about working with Pulse and with blackpills is we, as creators, we will never probably get another opportunity to make what we wanted to make. We had very, very few kind of network notes, I guess you would say, and we were really kind of like let off the leash in a way that was
For better or worse.
For better or for worse. I think there was one note which is like, we need sex and death because they're French. And we were like, okay, we can do that, no problem.
You needed that in every episode, you mean, or just more in general?
Well, in general, we were like, we want some sex, we want some death. We were like, got it. Okay, great.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
I'd say being a mobile platform, they want controversy and they want sticky moments to drive audience. Not that was kind of the brief out of the gate, but I think we got lucky with their lack of interaction.
Yeah, they were just really supportive and encouraging, and as people that have not done this before, we couldn't have been luckier. They were just so warm and just had a lot of kind of positive feedback, which is
They had no
rare.
choice, though. I mean, let's be honest. Like, we had 6 weeks from writing it to shooting it, so they didn't really have that much time to like
criticize.
There's like, do you want notes or do you want us to shoot it?
Yeah.
So we really lucked out, and it's funny now. Like, as I've shown people that are a lot more like seasoned or established, they're like, it's never going to be this good for you ever again, because like it's not normal.
The first time.
Yeah, like to just get to like
Make
go
stuff.
out and make shit with your friends, and then figure out what to do with it.
Yeah.
So thanks everyone who helped.
Well, Patrick, how did you get involved with this initially?
We have a friend in common. Mike and I have a friend in common. So we'd had a couple of like dinners together and met a few times, and then our friend in common knew that Mike was working on this and suggested we meet on the first season, and we sat down and had similar tastes and instincts, and I was desperate to find something else to do that was different than what I do most of the year. This fit the bill a little bit. And Mike asked me to come on board, and then I met Rachel right after that, and we all hit it off. We were all really excited to make something in the spirit of what they're talking about, where we could just be in a place, be creative, not have a ton of people that are looking over your shoulder or trying to make everything perfect or put their idea of it. It was just like, this is Mike's idea, invest in him, let him go. And for me, after all these years on the show that I'm on, it was just so nice to be on a set where it was like, it's just being him and Rachel, and we're just checking in about stuff, and we can change anything on the fly and do whatever we want and figure out how to make the moment work.
Well, how did you connect with Ryan and who this guy was?
We're very similar. A lot of similarities. Truthfully, I'm watching it and I'm like, I am way more similar to Ryan than I am to Mike Ross, for sure. In all the good ways, not the bad ways. I was just drawn to playing somebody who's super, super flawed. I love my TV gig, but it doesn't let me be that flawed. Like being flawed on a show like Suits is being flawed in the most minor way, and then you kind of have to wrap it up and make sure it's all okay for everybody at the end of the episode. So to play somebody who is just consistently making terrible choices, but the challenge as an actor to make those choices but still bring people along with you and try and create a sense of empathy, as long as you can see there's reasons for him making those choices. That's fun to experiment with, to see how far you can bring people with you down the path before they go, wow, I can't go with you on this one. And then, I felt it watching it, like every time we're like, God, he's with her in the car too? We're just starting to like you. But I feel like you never really lose it. I felt I never really lost it, which was fun.
Yeah, when you guys were writing it, did you worry about, are we going too far where the audience not like Ryan and not really want him to succeed or do what he's doing? Did that come up?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a
talks
lot.
on set where like I think specifically the longest conversation we had was in the porn star abductee episode, because we had like a full half-hour power. I was like, I don't think we can go here.
Yeah.
And it was all about, because she used the word molested, and we were like, she said molested. This isn't funny anymore. Like, we're super. But
I
whether
laughed
you
in the
think it's
edit, like-
funny or not, it was so cool to be in a room and just have 3 creative people going like, how far can we push it? Is this too far? And whether or not you think we did it, it's an exciting thing as artists in a room to be able to make that decision on your own and have those conversations about what's too far.
Right.
Yeah, I think too, though, especially, I mean, more so at the first and both seasons, is finding a really good balance, because you are quite, Ryan is a really flawed character, and he's trying to seek comfort because he's so uncomfortable with himself, and a lot of that is using other people. And it's like, how do you make sure that you didn't become unlikable, that there was some reason for the audience to still like care for you. And I think at Ryan's core, he wants to be a good person.
Yeah.
He's just kind of fucking.
Yeah. And I
slow.
think that's like The Sopranos. Like that guy's the worst character in the
Yeah,
world.
Pillow Talk and Sopranos, like
We're
the
very
same
similar.
thing. Yeah.
Let's put them on the same thing.
Just as good.
There's reasons we watch those
kidding,
guys.
yeah.
They're flawed, but we can see that they want to be better. They're there to try and accomplish something more. There's something in them that is trying to get out of their comfort zone and do something different. And so you'll give people a lot of leeway when you know that that they have that intention.
And also, one of the things I've kind of thought about, both watching it and writing it, and I think about this as an actor as well, is like sometimes the idea of keeping a character likable can kind of hem you in a little bit. And I think, it's nice to have characters on screen that are warm and relatable, but we can get a little bit stuck on this idea of they must be likable. I mean, like, why must they be likable? They should just be truthful. Not everyone on the planet is likable all the time.
You have to test the likability in order to make it interesting.
Yeah, and stretch it a little bit. And the worst thing that happens is, we have moments where we sit with a character and we digest them and we go, oh, I don't like him there, and it's uncomfortable, but that's okay. It's good for audiences, I think, sometimes to have an uncomfortable experience, and that's what's great about like new kind of smaller platforms is they're kind of more experimental. There's not millions and millions of dollars of machinery behind them where you can't fuck it up. Like you're allowed to kind of take risks and make mistakes, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like season 2 was a different shooting experience, just because since you said season 1 was just all kind of in one room. What did you learn from the first season that did help with kind of crafting season 2 and also just shooting it? And Casey, how much did you weigh in through this process?
We were pretty involved. When you're prepping and writing and casting at the same time, it's never ideal, I'd say. So we had to find creative solutions at pretty much every juncture of the process. And Mike was great. He kind of got over a hump pretty early on and realized that we were going to do it, and he had to get on board and get pumping.
I did not want to do this. I did not want. I was like, it's not possible. We're not gonna be able to pull it off. This is a disaster. And we got through like all of the emotions. So by the time I think we got to set, and it's funny, I just was on another shoot with a lot of my same crew, and they were all talking about how fun this shoot was. I mean, I think everyone from the PA to the grips to the catering, like we all were such a small, tight-knit family, and it was such a positive experience on set that I've never experienced, and most of the crew said the same thing. And I think it came because it was so emotionally damaging pre-pro, like trying to how the fuck, we don't know if this character's in it for sure, but just in case we end up writing this character, we should cast it, or at least have an idea of who was going to be cast. And then again, this was super low budge. It's trying to get actors to commit and not know what dates we were going to do stuff, and we'd never. I mean, my background's commercials and music videos. I'd never shot for 12 days in a row.
Scripted too.
Yeah, so trying to just get it all to work and then make sure we had the right people and setting the tone early on. Like we shot episode 5 first.
Mm-hmm. It went as good as it could possibly go. I remember leaving that because even when I was going, I was like, I'm so exhausted. I just come back from suits, and I was just leaving, and I was like, oh God, we're gonna do these 12 days. And by the end of it, I was like, I didn't want to leave. It was one of those shoots that just everything kind of slips right into place. We had incredible people the whole time. Everybody had a great attitude, and every time we shot a scene, it was like 10 times better than the first time we'd read it out loud, which is rare.
Well, one of the really good lessons, I think, with the fact that there was such a short turnaround with those 6 weeks to write it and location scout it and make it and whatever, was it was a good reminder to not, as a creative person, to not get stuck in the perfection trap. Because if you want it to be perfect, you would never get anything made. And to just have to go, well, this is really short. This is a really tight time frame to make something. Let's just make it. And there will be things that we don't get right. And then they're in there, and that's 100% the case. But if you get caught on it wanting to be perfect, then you never put yourself out on the line and actually make something. And I think I'm quite proud of that.
Yeah.
That we made it.
No, for sure. And I
think we made it.
We made something that's also really, it's formatted to be short form to be seen on your phone. That's the platform. And so it also allowed us to be oh, we care about characters and heart, and and empathy, but we also realized to like get people in, it's got to be kind of silly and ridiculous. Like the first episode, I mean, you just saw it. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. And then it was like, but can we make you feel for these characters by the end, even though this opens on, you know, a dead guy with an erection?
Yeah, that was a challenge.
What was it a big point to kill off Max? Because he was a big part of the first season.
Well, that's on the cocktail napkin. When we, when we found out that we were going to make this, and we had those two things, sex and death, we were like, oh.
For me, it was
It's
such
gotta
a
be
gift,
Max.
honestly, because the through line, the thing that keeps him fighting for. The first season was just about Ryan wanting to be a better guy, and I was like, that's good, but I think you can only get so far with that particular want. But having him deal with the death of somebody that meant something so much to him, I think then I was like, oh, now he has all the leeway in the world because he's grieving, so he can get crazy. I mean, we do crazy things when we're grieving. And so for me, just as like a runway, as soon as I read and was terrified by that scene, I was like, I have no idea how we shoot this. When I was reading it with my now wife the night before, she was like, "You're doing what tomorrow?"
I think too that we really I think we had the funeral first, like the idea for the funeral
Oh yeah.
before.
Well, we have
Which, by the way, do you want to tell them about something at the funeral? You think that's ridiculous, right? Like that's absurd. Like, where do you come up with this crazy stuff?
I have a.
It's in his will.
It was in my will. It's not
Change
anymore.
now. Change now.
It's been changed. Yeah, I had that in my will, actually, exactly like that.
He's had a crazy couple of years.
Yeah, I've had gone through some changes, but no, I just at the time, it's an old will. It was probably like 8 or 9 years ago, but I just thought it would be a funny way to end.
Simba style.
I didn't want to be buried, so I was like, I could get cremated, but I wanted to have an event, and I just thought it would be funny. So yeah, that's where it started.
I'm so
Had
sorry.
to get that
I'm
in
so
there.
sorry.
So basically, I asked, where did you come up with this? Everybody's just going to look to
Just
Mike.
in
Pretty much right
Mike's
here.
life.
Okay.
Just parts.
Yeah.
A few parts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just the stripper in the coffin. The rest is, we made that up.
Yeah, yeah.
Some liberties are taken. It's not. Rachel, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about casting a little bit more because you see some familiar faces. Like I love that Brenda Strong plays your mother. We've seen her in so many things. Phoebe Tonkin. Were these the people that you had in mind, or were they just friends of yours, or how did that all come together?
I actually think that Phoebe is a good friend of mine, but I think everyone else was just people that we loved, and I still can't believe the quality of actors that we got to come and make this. And I think a huge part of that is because of Patrick. Yeah. You were incredibly useful when we were reaching out to people like Brenda and Britt Lauer. We could say, "Oh, you're working with PatrickJ.Adams," and they were like, "Oh, he's an amazing actor. I understand the caliber of what this is." And that's why we got all these. No, but it's true. And still, we
Caliber.
I loved it. I mean, these were amazing. Brenda in that
Brenda's
scene where
amazing.
she's weeping over the bunny. Like when I was shooting that, I was weeping. I was like, oh my God, she's so good. She's so alive. She just showed up with that. And Britt every time.
I'm such
fun
a fan
fact,
of Britt Lauer too. I love her in Man-Seeking Woman. I can't believe that she showed
she's
up
incredible.
to this.
How old was the guy who played my dad?
He is, in real life, he is 23.
He's 23 years old.
But we saw so many people, and he just
23. And
was
we
like-
made a lot of jokes when we were shooting it about him being 23 that you cut out intelligently because I'm watching him going, he doesn't look 23.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing about him that looks 23.
We
Those jokes wouldn't have played.
rode around him because he was just so. We saw
Just a
so many
great
people,
actor.
and he just kind of killed it. He's like a newer guy. He's 23. He hasn't been around that long, and he just fucking killed it.
Oh, he was giving me advice on set and stuff. I was like, tell me what to do. Listen here, man.
You know who was a pain in the ass though was the bunny. That was a
Yeah.
mistake.
I got bit.
That was a straight
I got
up
bit by the
mistake.
bunny.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have a
Bunny was-
scar from it.
He bled.
I bled
Asshole.
from that bunny. Here's the
and-
deal with bunnies. They bite hard. Like that, those two front teeth, and that bunny was pissed. We didn't pay its full SAG wage.
Yeah.
We're getting a sign.
Okay.
Oh.
Audience questions.
We'll get to some audience questions here in a second. How do you cast a rabbit? And I do want to know this.
Okay,
That was my fault, by the
I
way.
did not want the rabbit to be
I'm
involved,
sorry.
and we got a giant Flemish rabbit, but we could only get one, and so then we had to go with these bigger rabbits. But it was one of the most expensive days of our fucking shoot. We spent more money because you needed like 3 people and a wrangler. We lost so much to have that rabbit.
If you're sensing some aggression coming off of him towards me about this rabbit, you would be right.
And then
Because it
I was
a
so on board
nightmare.
with the rabbit. I was like right
Until it
there.
bit
I was
you.
into it, and then the rabbit bit me. And then I was immediately anti-rabbit.
Yeah, if you're gonna make something, don't use the rabbit.
Don't use rabbits.
It's just not worth
Dogs are really trainable and good. Rabbits, no.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there thoughts about another season? Have you guys already been thinking that? Or?
We're always thinking.
I would love to.
It's just up to Patrick.
The money people.
Up to me.
Oh.
Yeah, Patrick.
Just
No.
spring it on me.
Yeah, if we can get somebody to give us more money, we'd do it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Jim.
Because
up?
Anyone?
I'll do what I can. But because you guys did leave it on a nice little cliffhanger there, because you're kind of waiting to see what Emma's going to see whatever happens next. So.
Yeah, the Emma Ryan stuff was something that we really wanted to focus on in the season, and actually the truth is, they're like 8 to 10 minute episodes, and 8 of them is actually, in terms of story, a relatively short runway to get things out. There's actually not a lot of space to be able to build a relationship, and the hope is that if we were to go and do another season, that we would be able to focus on that relationship a little bit more. And the mirror between the two characters, of them both have kind of addictive tendencies around sex and love, and kind of exploring that a little bit further. But yeah, turns out 8 by 8 is actually a really short space to be able to get character out.
Okay. You guys have some questions? If you do, raise your hand and we'll bring a mic to you.
Throw the mic.
Anyone? We have somebody here in the front. Wait for the mic. Go ahead, sir.
Hi. Congratulations on season 2. It's excellent. I wanted to know about, you talked about the 8x8 format, and just when you have not a ton of resources, kind of being able to, with the writing and the development, just any lessons that you have about, how that process, like what, sorry, I'm getting all like.
Yeah.
Casey, you start.
Take enough time for development and getting it on the page. And then really, then you have a blueprint to where you want to allocate your resources and where to make it count.
Yeah, I think too, I don't think it looks as low budget as it actually was. I mean, we had an amazing team and the crew, and everyone just really showed up. But I think, yeah, if we had a little more time to develop it, it would have been a lot easier, I think, and no, because then we could have pulled off even more.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess the main thing is just have the scripts and have everyone really excited about them, and wait for the people that you really want to be in it. Because yeah, I mean,
Great cast is, with something, with a world like this, which is, comedy, relationships, sex stuff, like get actors that are amazing, and then that's, half the battle. I don't say that to kind of,
No, I mean, it helps, though. Every single person that showed up came ready to work. There wasn't like, you didn't have the benefit of a long rehearsal time. So having strong actors who were really willing to commit and like go the distance quickly was a big deal.
Yeah, because we were shooting 10-page days some days
Yeah.
with process trailer, like just stuff that's
Yeah, and people like getting
impossible.
their makeup in like that corner while we're shooting, and like it's how it is. It's just a madhouse.
Yeah, but Patrick, you're so good. We didn't have any OT, miraculously.
You didn't have any what? OT?
Overtime.
OT.
Yeah, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
We didn't.
And a big part of it is actors that are game, and a director that's really game, and people that are prepared to like find a solution to all of the problems that crop up when you're filming. Because there's always, on any scale of job, there's always some kind of a problem. The key is finding, I guess, like a crew.
The perfect team.
Yeah, people that are like, oh, we fucked this up. Let's fix it.
More
And
questions?
I know this is probably boring, but just to go with the flow, like more than anything on this kind of thing, when you did have such limited resources and limited time, you had to just kind of accept a lot of the things that weren't, there's a lot of things that I had to just live with and push through them, and know that we had to just make the day and start again. So like that whole taco truck scene was somewhere else, and then it started raining.
In LA.
And we had to adapt to that, but it actually made it so much fucking better. It's one of my favorite parts of the whole series, and that was a disaster,
Yeah.
and it just, we
But
just
if
went
you had
with
fought it, it would have been even more disaster.
Yeah, we just went with it, and I don't know, I loved it. So.
Okay. More questions? I thought I saw a hand in the middle.
Hi.
Hi.
Great job. I was cackling the whole time. I'm wondering about your influences for it, specifically if Fleabag was something that you'd seen and loved.
No,
Fleabag came out after we made, or we didn't watch it until after, and
but it's like the best show ever.
it's like the
I love
benchmark. We were like, oh, this is amazing. I mean, we worked with Sharon Horgan, which was huge. And I'm a really big Catastrophe fan. We all are, and she was really a very, very important mentor. We were so lucky to be able to, get her, email her and be like, does this work? And she's just incredible and a really gifted writer herself. And having her there as kind of like the godmother of the process was really amazing. And I admire her very much. I look up to her. I think her shows are amazing and her voice is amazing. So.
Yeah, Catastrophe was a big one. I think the first season, it's just hard to tell with the second season. I mean, there were so many new influences, but I would say that, it sounds so lame to say, but I mean, like there's so many shows, I don't want to say one.
And the obvious ones, like Girls, Lena Dunham is a huge like personal hero. I think she's amazing. And that whole people that are, again, like bringing kind of stories like this that are kind of relationship based or even like.
I always.
High maintenance?
A little like the format of High Maintenance was a huge influence, I would say, more than anything. Definitely was. Sorry, I forgot that one.
A way to tell great stories in a short period of
time. That, and then I think stylistically, like it goes all over the place. Like Mike Mills is probably my favorite filmmaker ever, but I don't, we tried to get some of the heart of that, and then I really like Jodie Hill and Danny McBride. So it was like, is there somewhere in the middle that we could go?
And also I think knowing that because this world is quite new, the 10 by 10 or 10 by 8 or whatever it is, and it being, making a show for a mobile device is really new. There is an element of it being kind of like the Wild West a little bit, that there's not an enormous amount of precedent for 8-minute shows. So sometimes I think we're just kind of making it up a little bit as we went along because it's not that familiar of a formula still, which is exciting and cool to be at the cusp of it, I guess.
And you're meant to challenge, traditional storytelling. It's kind of made for that to, see what works and push the limits.
And being episodic and being short form, and I don't want to be like, it lowered the, like where it is a little weird to see it in a row like that, because the idea was that you'd watch one and then go on with your day and watch another, like, so it's not completely linear. And there was holes, because it was designed that way. It was just to try to like hit you as quick as we can, get through stuff, and if we could make you laugh and make you feel like you were connecting with the characters, that was like the priority more so than the like arc of the show.
Right.
So it is a little strange to watch it like all the way through, but I still think it works for the most part. There is an arc, even though it isn't a feature. I mean, there are little snippets that you're supposed to watch on the train, I guess.
Rachel, since we're so used to seeing you in front of the camera, how was this process for you being behind the camera, and did you have an itch about wanting to be in the show instead of just behind the scenes?
It's so fun. We thought about it. I think we were just worried that we would get into some like mad argument on set if I was acting in it, and that wouldn't be productive. But the truth is, I love being an actor, and I've never been behind the camera before, and it was fun just to sit and watch, and I really got to learn a lot from being on the other side and watching you work and Britt work and Brenda Strong, and watching how other people approach it was an enormous kind of education for me to take back to my day job in a way.
And rewriting on set, and I mean, you
had lots to be doing, so just not to split your brain was kind of cool. Like
I'm not a good multitasker, actually. That's the truth. I don't know how people, you look at like Lena Dunham or whatever, and they can act and direct and produce and write, and I don't think I'm cut out for that. I'm not.
I need someone to be telling me it's right or wrong somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for being here. Thanks everybody here.
Thank you guys so much for coming out and watching this on a beautiful Saturday. Thank you.
It's October 23rd, right?
October 23rd. Download tell all your friends to download the Blackpills app. I know you're going to do it. You're going to leave here and text them all right now.
It's free.
Yeah.
Is it free?
It is free.
It is free. I just downloaded it.
I did it too. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.